Hello everybody, it is August 29th when I'm filming this and a new month is coming, so as you know, we're gonna do our September reset. Alright, just to start off this reset, I kind of want to reset with you guys also and talk a little bit about a lot of the changes that are going on in my life and the changes that happened in August. I talk a little bit about all of these things in other videos, so I'll kind of put them in the cards when they are relevant, but just getting into some of the changes. I started a new job. I was feeling burnt out and really stressed at my old job. Not because of anything my coworkers did. It was like a customer facing job. Very high stress for me because I'm more introverted, very people pleasing. So it's hard to kind of be in a role where I'm having to basically, it's like customer service but in a corporate setting. So imagine how, I've said this before, but imagine how people treat Starbucks workers, but think of that in like a corporate setting where they think that their job is the most important thing in the world. Yeah, that took a toll on me, so I left, but I had a job lined up, so I was looking for a couple months. If you want to hear a little bit more about that process and like kind of an insight on everything that led up to this switch, feel free to watch my last video. I think it's talking about like why I quit my job and starting a new job in a terrible job market, something like that. So that was basically one. Two, my fiance Justin and I got a new car, so that's something that we're gonna have to put into our budget. Since we're talking about the budget, three, my fiance and I also somewhat combined our budget, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in detail once we get to the money portion of this reset, but we're not fully combined. He still has his like fun money, I still have my fun money, and then we have a pot for all of our mixed or joint expenses. But we'll get into that later. And then lastly, this weekend, so the last few days of August, I am moving in with my fiance to the city, or San Francisco. So you can't tell because I've hid it pretty well, I hope. All my mess is everywhere. I'm packing, but I did want to film this and make sure I start out the month right. But yeah, that's basically everything that happened in August. Let's start planning and talking about September. We'll start off with goals, intentions / habits, and everything with that. All right, so before I pull that up, I do want to go over one of my goals / intentions for September, and that's just making sure I have healthy habits. Instead of being so specific, I have a goal of like drinking water, blah, blah, blah. I mean, those are technically goals, habits, same, honestly, but I like to just think of it as a whole, all of kind of the healthy habits that I wanna do and like actually have as a habit. I'm just grouping them into one like goal or intention, and that's just, as I said, trying to have these healthy habits stick. Previously, I think I've had so many intentions, goals, whatever, of like drinking water, walking, whatever it may be. But the one thing that's hard is that if you don't track it, how would you, I mean, yeah, you can go based off of like intuition or like what you remember, but you know, I feel like for me, as a kind of data type person, I don't really trust that I will be very fair in my reflection because one, I'm pretty hard on myself, but two, also like if I did really well in the last week and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I did that, but like the first 3 weeks I didn't, like it's not fair to say, you know? So I want to make sure that I am actually tracking. So with that, here is my August habits, which I wasn't tracking, and I don't remember that being a goal of any kind. I wasn't really tracking anything for August. I just decided to make this tracker in August and kind of test it out, use it, and honestly, like, you know, start my habits. But anyways, this is basically what the Notion page looks like. It's pretty simple. Here I have move, steps, water in ounces, and then just a check mark for if I did each of those things. And then one is journaling. We'll get to that in a second. So movement, I have different options. For days where I'm really busy, like I was in the office or I'm really low energy, my minimum goal is literally just to walk intentionally for 15 plus minutes. I want an intentional, this is a walk, not like, oh, I'm walking, so let's use that as our 15 minutes. No, I want it more like, I want you to walk for no reason, basically. Just walk to walk for 15 minutes. So that's my like least option in terms of like my lowest energy. And then the rest, it depends. Walk, steps. If I get my 7K steps, which is definitely, I believe, more than 15 minutes, so that could be like next up, making sure I get my steps in. If I went for a jog, today I did go for a jog, so let's put that in. I put this morning. Also, I have lifting and bouldering counts as movement as well. So with that, I can check my movement for today. Steps, I put in my steps pretty much no matter what. It's not exact, but whatever shows up on my Garmin, I just kind of put on there. Water, I put in the amount of ounces I've been drinking. My goal is 72 ounces, but as you can see, I've been hitting like 56. It's so annoying. It's like I only need to drink one more of these water bottles once I get home from like work or something, but that would be at like 6:30. And then I'm not gonna chug 24 ounces of water before I go to bed because then I'm gonna pee. So I think I just need to like drink more in the morning. And then this one is intermittent fasting, but it's not really intermittent fasting. It's more like just stop eating after 7. This has honestly helped me so much with my sleep. Like digesting, because I used to just eat right before bed, literally a big meal and then go to bed. So actually stopping to eat a couple hours before bed, I chose 7 o'clock to stop eating, is really good. It's helped my sleep a lot, but also it's my first step in helping or like moving towards more food goals. So right now, as you can tell, I'm kind of focusing on my movement goals. And then once I kind of have my movement in check, I want to have more of my diet in check. Diet in terms of portion control and like getting vegetables, having fiber, having protein. But right now, as kind of step 0 and just laying the foundation, we're just doing intermittent fasting, but really it's just stop eating after 7. I don't really care when I eat in the morning, and I know that's not intermittent fasting, but it just was a better name for me. So yeah, that's that. And then journal. So when you open this up, I just have this kind of like, I have this template that has a couple questions for me to answer, things I handled well today or that I'm proud of, moments I want to remember from today, what would I say to a friend if they had my day, things I'm grateful for, or anything else on my mind. For the most part, I don't fill in all of them. As long as I do one, it's fine. That's usually things I'm grateful for, just so that, you know, I'm always practicing gratitude. On hard days, you know, I might do this one because what would a friend say to me? I can reparent myself, or like, how would a friend talk to myself? Am I being too hard on myself? So maybe on days like that, I would use this one. I try to do this one as well, things I handled well today and I'm proud of, because I don't give myself small wins. A lot of times it's just like, yeah, you were meant to do that, or like like doing something good was expected of me, and like, why would you be proud if that's what you're supposed to do? Came from the childhood, but that's why I wanted this here as well, so that I can kind of get out of that mindset. And then here I just have more specifics on the goals, like for water it's 72 ounces, for movement it's that. And then once I change whatever my food goal is, maybe it's like calorie counting or hitting protein and fiber, whatever, I haven't decided what it is yet. But once I've decided, I'll put that here too, just to be explicit. And then that's my August one. I also have my September one, but obviously September is like not here yet. It's like 2 or 3 days away, so there's nothing in there. Okay, so those are basically the healthy habits I want to focus on, and that's kind of the main goals that I have. But there are a few things that I don't feel like I need to track, which I know I was talking all about tracking, blah 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 blah. But there are some things that I don't feel like need to be tracked that I also want to work towards. So one is sleep better / find a good night routine. So I got a Hatch alarm clock, I got an Oura ring, or not Oura ring, Ultra Human ring. And I bought those, well, because when I left my job, my previous job, I had money in my FSA, which is a flexible spending account that you can use for like health purchases, and I didn't want it to go to waste, obviously. So I kind of bought those things. But the Hatch alarm clock and this Ultra Human ring really helped me focus more on my sleep. I do now see more of the importance in like getting good sleep. So basically I just want to find a good night routine. And then with that, I also for September want to help find a good morning routine. I think I do want to make sure I'm incorporating movement in the morning. I've noticed when I was training for my half marathon, when I was waking up, working out, showering, having matcha. Like, I felt really good and my sleep was really good, and I am commuting to work a little bit more, so maybe a morning run is not gonna work out every day, but trying to fit in some kind of movement and some kind of routine in one way or another. Maybe one routine for days I don't have to go to work, and then one routine for days I do have to go to work. But yeah, basically just trying to figure that out. All right, so that was basically the goals portion of this video. So let's get into the money stuff. First, let's kind of talk about how all my life changes is now affecting my financial and what all these financial changes are. So one, got a new car. So now we have monthly payments to be paying, insurance. I wasn't having to pay any of that when I was living here at home. So now that I have that, and it's a car we're sharing, so it's being split, which again, more details to come in a bit, but that's something that's being affected. Moving out, paying rent, you know, other expenses, laundry, utilities, groceries that we're sharing now, just like all the things that we could be sharing or things that I have to pay for now that I'm moving out. Because when I said laundry, that's because our place doesn't have in-unit laundry. So I have to pay for laundry, to pay for utilities, internet, all of that. And then talking about that, now we can talk a little bit about how the combining finances with my fiance works now. So basically what we did, we basically went through everything that we were sharing. So that's like rent, utilities, gas, car insurance, etc. Grocery, dining out, like everything that we would be sharing, we budgeted out for that, or like whatever our payment might need to be for that month. We added all of that up, and this is not the number, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but let's pretend it's $6,000 for everything that we have shared. From there, the way it works, we're splitting it 55-45 because that's basically the ratio that we have in terms of our salaries. So he'll pay 55% because he makes about 55% of our joint money, or of our joint salary. And then I'm paying 45% of that because that is my ratio of our joint like income. And then I guess one more thing is that because I got a new job and I have to go into the office more now, and I actually have to drive and I can't use public transportation, I'm paying more in gas. Now let's walk through a little bit of our budget. And a couple things that I forgot, my new role is a slight increase in pay, not much, but slight, so better than, you know, nothing. So I'm really happy for that. Second, before I was semi-monthly, so I always got paid on the 15th and the last day of the month, but now it's bi-weekly, so I get 2 extra paychecks a year, but that means my paychecks are technically smaller, but not really. And I am now on an HDHP medical insurance or health insurance. So I will be using an HSA, which is a health savings account. And basically with an HSA, you can invest your money, triple tax advantage, meaning you can put money into it pre-tax, it grows tax-free, and you can pull out the money tax-free if it's for health things. But all of that was to say that I'm getting sometimes 3 paychecks a month. Anyways, here is my simple budget tracker. So here I have all my income. So for me, this is what I know. I know I'm getting paycheck 1, I know I'm getting paycheck 2. Extra income, this comes from either YouTube or I help a friend edit videos for her kind of business. So I get income from that. And then this is how much I'm budgeting. So that's my total budgeted. So here is the monthly budget. This is where I just kind of get a rough estimate of how much money or how much discretionary money do I have, or discretionary spending can I do. So here's joint expenses. Again, this is just literally everything that we were talking about that's joint. We have a separate budgeting system on You Need a Budget where it's all broken out, but for me, this is literally just to see in general like what my discretionary like income and like what I can just do for myself. So for our joint expenses, this is my amount, so we can do that. School loan, $100. Roth IRA, I usually do $584, but I think I had put extra money into it in 2025 because now when I redid the math based off of how much left I can contribute, this is what the number came out to be. Movement gym, this is my bouldering slash like gym because it also has like weights and stuff. So that's the monthly. I am pausing Audible. I have like 2 credits, and then I have I think 2 or 3 books that I've used credits for that I was supposed to listen on my trip last month, but I never even got around to it. So I have like lots of books to read and credits to use. So let's just pause Audible for at least the month of September. But Kindle, I'm reading I'll talk a little bit about it later, but I'm reading Plated Prisoner series. And that's on Kindle Unlimited, and I tend to read a lot, so I'm leaving that there for now. So I use YouTube Premium mostly just for access to YouTube Music because I technically got kicked out of a kind of family sharing plan where I didn't have to pay because I gave that spot to my sister as a Christmas gift. So I then had to start paying for my own music streaming. YouTube Music comes with YouTube Premium, so no ads. So I was like, you know, that's worth it for me. That's that. I pay yearly, so this $705 is like basically how much I would need to pay monthly. And it's pretty cheap. I think it's cheaper than what, I think Spotify, if you pay the monthly, it's like $14 or something, but I don't know. iCloud just for all of my, you know, videos, all my pictures, extra storage. So gifts and giving, this is basically for Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, also birthday gifts, so put 200 there. Entertainment, this is basically for like if I want to go bowling, if I want to do any hobby things, that also counts for that. Movie tickets. Sometimes it's also social, so that's how much is going towards entertainment. Health, I have a few prescriptions, and you know, you never know, so just kind of put money towards health there. YouTube plus taxes. So basically this has a formula to put 30% away of whatever my extra income is so that I have money for taxes. So with that budgeted amount of 200, we need to pay 60, so we could put 60. So with all of that, I have about $975 left of like extra money. I won't say extra, but just discretionary spending. Okay, so for savings and extra payments, oh, another point, my joint expenses also is accounting for wedding saving up for a wedding, because to us, that is an expense because we know that's coming, the date is set, we know that the money's gonna be spent. So it, like, yes, we're saving, but it's an expense, it's like a bill basically. So that's also kind of put into that. But for extra payments, for saving and extra payments, let's do 200. Miscellaneous. I've been in a very spendy mood and it's not been great. But let's do an amount that I feel like is slightly excessive and then subtract a few. So let's say slightly excessive would be like $475. So slightly less than that, let's do 400. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna spend $400, but who knows. Personal. This is like clothes, feminine care products, makeup, etc. Miscellaneous is literally just like random stuff. Like if I want to buy like a coffee maker. I don't know why I would want to buy a coffee maker, but I mean, I do, but that's besides the point. So in terms of like clothes and makeup, feminine care, I know I want to buy a pair of pants for work. That's like $50. And then just in case, feminine care, a box of pads, let's just pretend like $20. Sometimes $25. So let's just do like 100. $275 left in the budget, as you can see here. But I don't want to spend $275 on dining out. And dining out, this includes just me personally. We have a separate dining out like date budget in the joint expenses when it's both of us. It's confusing, but it works out. So in terms of this extra 200, let's just put that towards saving and extra payment. Cool. So that's my like just guesstimate, trying to estimate like what money looks like for September. Once I get the paycheck, I like budgeting by paycheck. So here I have paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. I have left to allocate 0 because I have no paycheck in my actual, but let's say I'm actually paid $2,200. And then here I can allocate actually. And I'm always a month ahead in my bills. So let's say it's not even September yet. I have all my September bills like ready to be paid in an account. So here, that's why everything's kind of just split out evenly. Some people will have like different amounts or different categories. Like some will have, I'll have my rent in paycheck 1 and my car insurance in paycheck 1 and the gas bill in paycheck 1. And then paycheck 2 will be a whole different set of bills, like my subscriptions, blah, blah, blah. But for me, since I'm basically 1 month ahead on everything, I just split everything down the middle to make it easier for me. But let's remove that because we're not paid anything for September. But yeah, as the month goes on, I will just do my paycheck budgeting as well. Cool. I usually like doing a what I spent, saved, blah, blah, blah. But right now that's hard because literally in the middle of the month is when we basically combine finances. Things got lost, things moved around too much, so I don't want to go through that right now. And I'm gonna try to think of a clean way to show my expenses, but also like show the joint portion of it. It's kind of confusing, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. So that's the money portion. Now let's get into kind of our reading recap. Awesome. I only read 2 books this month, which is crazy to think because I feel like I've been reading a lot. The first book I read is Miles High by Liz Tomford? I don't remember. But it's basically a story of a girl who's a flight attendant and she works for a private charter for this hockey team. And it's basically like a professional athlete, hockey player, and flight attendant romance. And I gave this a 2.5 stars. To me, it felt really tropey. And I know some people don't like tropes because of what they think it does to the industry and into like writing and literature and the book kind of world. I am not well versed and well educated on that, so I don't really have a say on that, but I don't mind a good trope. Like Grumpy Sunshine, dark romance. Like I like a good trope. I'm not mad about tropes. But this felt tropey in like a bad way when I was reading it. I mean, it's a pretty generic book, so it might be a slight spoiler, but if you've read books like this, of this trope, you'll know exactly what's gonna happen. But basically the main character is seen as like a player, but actually he's not. He's actually not a player and he's a great guy. And the way that they show this throughout the book just feels so not good. Like, I feel like in other books where it's a little bit better written, I don't want to say well written, but better written, you see that he's a good person through actions or through storytelling, like actual storytelling. In this book, you literally have people, like side characters, telling the main male character, like, yeah, you're a good guy. You're actually a good guy. That's all they say. Like, you're actually a good guy. And then they'll go to the main female character and be like, he's such a good guy. He's not what he looks like. He's actually a good guy. And that's basically it. Like, that's half the conversations that's going on in this book. And they're basically trying to tell the reader that he's a good guy. I mean, there's some things, yeah, that, like, actions that he does, but they're focused on telling that through the dialogue rather than through storytelling and his action. So it felt really tropey and bad. And it was just so generic. It did what it needed to do. Like, it was fine. That's why I gave it a 2.5. There were some good parts and like other side plots that I really enjoyed. A lot of books that I say I don't like or that I didn't enjoy as much, I realized I did like feel emotional on or about like side plots more than the main plot. But that's not the point. Anyways, that's Miles High, 2.5. And then I also finished Guild by, it'll be here somewhere on the screen. But I finished Guild, I gave it a 3.5 stars. And to me, that's just, I liked it. It was fine, it was good. At first, I don't know if I was gonna like it because it's not a spoiler at all. It's like the first page. They start off the book with an orgy and a girl in a cage. And then the girl in the cage is gold. What? Like, it felt like such forced shock value. You're like, what the fuck is going on? It was weird for me to wrap my head around, but once I got into the story, it was pretty decent, and I started liking it, and I'm reading it now. And I've realized all the books that I've been reading are literally due to book boyfriends. I literally started reading this book just because I saw so many TikToks saying, if you like Xaden, you'll like Slade way better, because he's a, like, meaner, or like more dark kind of character, and I'm just like, we'll see. I read Shatter Me, or like started reading the Shatter Me series because everyone was like, Aaron Warner. I read, was it Heartless? Because of Cade Eaton. So, we'll see. So those were basically the 2 books that I read this month. Alright, so that's us preparing for September. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful in one way or another, and see you guys in the next video. Bye!